I'm Greg Papazian. I guess you could consider myself a music photographer. And I started back in 1970. I think it all kind of came together in 1968 when I went to a Rolling Stones concert, and afterwards I saw all the different images that came from that tour. And I was like really fascinated with the lighting, the outfit, the way everything looked. And something I felt like I wanted to do. So after that, I went out and got a camera, took a photo class in high school, and started going to concerts, just buying a general admission ticket and getting as close as I could to the front for a few months. And then I started getting press passes, and one thing led to another, and then my work was being published all over, and I was the photographer for the Whiskey A Go-Go, the ROXY Theater, Photograph Record Magazine, and that lasted for like a good 10 years. One thing that people don't understand about photo pits is they're not for photographers. They're just a second barrier for crowd control. Because today, when I used to shoot all these different bands, they would give you one backstage pass and you can go anywhere you wanted. Today, they'll say you can shoot the first 3 songs in the pit, and then somebody's going to throw you out if you're in a little bit longer. You're just out of the whole venue.
It used to be very, very artistic, very creative. Now it's all business.
Yeah. Well, the Midnight Special would film every Tuesday, and I would call up on Monday and say to the secretary, "Who's playing?" And they'd say, "Well, today we have Ike and Tina Turner, the KINKS, Peter Frampton, and MOTT the HOOPLE." And I'd say, "Okay, I'm from Circus Magazine. I'd like to come tomorrow." And I'd go there and pick up my little pass and walk into the studio. And then there'd be 3 large stages, and they'd go through all the rehearsals, and I got to do anything I wanted. And there's probably only a dozen people or so. If you come on over to here, you'll see this picture of Dave Davies of the KINKS. He's literally looking right through me. Today, if we ever shot any artist like that, and he was looking at me in that way, I'd probably be escorted out of the concert hall.
Actually, Led Zeppelin in '71 was on fire. They were becoming the biggest rock group in the world. What were your memories of the energy in the hall and the band?
Personally, when I shoot concerts, I don't pay attention to the music. I just get involved in the photography. We would just call up the manager, and he'd say, "Oh, you want to shoot ROXY Music, 3 o'clock tomorrow afternoon?" And then I'd go to the lobby, and ROXY Music were sitting there, just the members of ROXY Music, no manager, no handler, anybody. And then I just take them to different places around the hotel, up by the pool, out in the parking lot. And if you look at the picture of ROXY Music right here, well, you'll see MOTT the HOOPLE, freshly painted wall. ROXY Music, they were working on that one. They were fixing the cracks.
Couldn't tell that's not an artistic statement.
Yeah, but it ended up being artistic.
It's a lot of stucco. What advice do you give to young photographers? Because it's such a different day. It's all digital. It's a whole different world. But what advice do you give to young creative people?
That's a good one. I don't really like the way the music photography business is today. It's not something I would recommend for anybody, but if I would talk about anybody starting it, I would say start out with a band that's just forming and do work with them, and then you'll be treated properly on the way up. But if you just go out to photograph bands that are famous now, you'll just get abused. Be hundreds of people with the same pictures you have. So there won't be anything creative. You won't get to do what you really need to do, and they won't really realize it because they never had it the right way, where they had full access and maybe 2, 3, or 4 photographers at one venue, and you just got to go and do what you want to do. It's like walking into a museum, and imagine you just walk around taking pictures of whatever you want to, take your time, or somebody tells you, you've got 10 minutes, get in there. And you think, oh, well, 10 minutes, I can get some great pictures, but all of a sudden, there's 50 other people standing in front of the statue you want to photograph. How are you going to photograph it?
Yeah.
So it's a tough world. And one thing I've noticed about music photographers today is they want to be as famous as the artists that they're shooting. And music photographers from our era didn't care about being famous. They just wanted to capture the shot. And there really wasn't any fame for them because they send their pictures out to magazines and they would meet people in their daily lives and they wouldn't even know that they're a music photographer. But today with the internet and social media, everybody is famous. And I think that's one of the wrong reasons to be in that business. I've got a website, it's Greg Papazian, my name, gregpapazian.com, and there's a website of my vintage work, or they can find me on Facebook and see some of the new work that I do that I'm really excited about. I usually tell everybody today I don't shoot famous people anymore. I shoot, the people that are just starting out in the bands, because I think that's where it is, because if you can go back to the history of the Beatles, the Rolling Stones, Bob Dylan, wouldn't you rather get them when they're first starting out, just young teenagers, all that kind of energy? And the shots that I'm creating today, even if these bands become famous, no one will have these shots. So you've got to do something different.